In the headlines, a Meet the People campaign introduced by the Prime Minister, a $250,000 road project for Salisbury planned for next week, and Chinese men sentenced to prison for ATM theft. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this. Thank you for staying with us. Topping the news, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says he plans to meet needy and vulnerable Dominicans in their home villages under a decentralized public support program, also known as Red Clinic. The effort is being dubbed PM Meet the People campaign. It started with school visits and a community meeting at Bagatelle on Wednesday, where the Prime Minister was accompanied by the parliamentary representative, Dr. Kenneth Daru.
In 2017, I would go to a different village in Dominica, once I'm in the country every month, to have an office day, so that it would reduce or minimize the number of people who have to come to the financial center to meet with myself, because there are many people who like to meet with me but may not have the time or the means of coming to Rosa, and sometimes they do come and they're unable to see me because I may not be available, or I may be out of state or something like that. So by coming to these communities, you're able to reach people, reach more people, and to also have the time to listen to their issues one-on-one.
Skerrit considers meeting community members on home turf an important part of the job. Meantime, parliamentary representative for the Petite-Savanne constituency, Dr. Kenneth Daru, says the campaign is useful for the community.
His visit here today is so critical that he will hear firsthand the cries of the people, and not just the parent, going to him or coming to cabinet, crying every day for stuff that are not considered necessary. So he'll hear firsthand from the people as to their needs, as I said, personal, of course, and otherwise, and community needs. And he had given his commitment to take the necessary action. And the Prime Minister that I've been working with for the past 7 years, if I know him very well, that whatever commitment he makes today or any time, okay, will be honored. So I'm very honored and very privileged to be there with him. Of course, I'm hoping that maybe we can do this a bit more often, and hoping that we can, of course, mirror or copy this visit to the other communities within the constituency. And I'm really thankful for this.
In other top stories, two much anticipated government projects in the Salisbury constituency are underway, with another to soon materialize. The Lago Bay Ravine in Kulibistri and the Makushwi-Gwomon Feeder Road are undergoing rehabilitation works following damage done by Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. These projects are being done through the Ministry of Public Works. The plan is to rebuild the Makushwi-Gwomon Feeder Road and redirect the Makushwi River to take its original course.
This feeder road was severely affected by Tropical Storm Erica, and it was further compounded by some heavy rains in 2016. What actually happened is that during the passage of Tropical Storm Erica, where used to be the road, the river took it over as it course. What happened is that the farmers now find it very difficult to access their farms at Gwomon, Gwalabu, and so on. We did a small intervention some months ago, sometime in June of 2016. But in August of 2016, heavy rains came and it washed out what we did. So I made a representation on behalf of the farmers to the Prime Minister, and he agreed to do some work for and on behalf of the farmers of the Gwomon, Gwalabu, Makushwi area.
The completed project will allow farmers to drive the route to their farms at ease, even if it rains heavily. Earl Loader Excavation Services is contracted to do that project. In the neighboring community of Kulibistri, at least $15,000 are being spent at Lago Bay on dredging of a ravine. Esprit says work should be completed in 1 week.
Some work was done immediately past Tropical Storm Erica to restore the road and clean up the ravine, which became a river during Tropical Storm Erica. But for reason unknown, the work was abruptly stopped, and there's still some material and debris which was left close to a house and in the ravine. So now what is happening now, we the government, through the Ministry of Public Works, after discussion with the Prime Minister, has agreed to allow the excavator to complete the works that was left undone immediately after Tropical Storm Erika. So what will have happening is that the stones and debris which were left in the ravine, which was brought down by Tropical Storm Erika, will be removed by the excavator and hauled away, and the platform leveled for the ravine so water can flow freely to avoid the breeding of mosquitoes. The mouth would be cleaned so that the water can flow to the sea as it's supposed to.
In related news, contracts have been signed for an upgrade to Salisbury Village roads to start next week. The project will cost $276,000. The Kulibistri Monrachet Village Council is responsible for payout of the funds and supervision of the works, since Salisbury does not have a village council. Work is expected to commence on January 23rd with 4 Salisbury contractors engaged.
It will last for, I guess, a month or a month and a half to restore about 600 meters of concrete road. In the first instance, that will be the first phase of the restoration of the Salisbury Village Road. The second phase will be done after the WASCO does an intervention. So coming from the WASCO, we will have the restoration and replacement of the pipes, distribution pipes from the clinic down to the bus stop, which we call La Vigie. And after this is done, we will move to phase 2 of the village road.
President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre, has added his voice to express gratitude to Vosh IKEA Mission for 25 years of free service. His Excellency Savre visited the Goodwill Parish Hall on Thursday, where over 100 people were being seen by the United States team. Mr. Savre told the media he is in full support of this initiative.
To me, every year, the numbers seem to be growing. I think for a number of people, it provides them an opportunity that they would not otherwise have had. And it is always very good and very wonderful to see the value of the work that they're doing. So I think hats off to Vosh and to the Rotary Club.
Each person received a free pair of glasses, and sunglasses were necessary. Over 500 missions leave the United States for this objective. The Rotary Club of Dominica has collaborated with the U.S. Rotary Club to make this possible locally.
We do more of the glasses, optometric glasses, and triaging disease. So we'll identify cataracts and the pterygiums and the retinopathies with diabetes and hypertension, and then we refer or even pre-treat in glaucoma and then refer to the Cuban team or Venezuelan team or to Dr. Ricketts. What they've found in the world is there's far more legally blind people in poorer countries, and especially in the country areas of the countries, that need glasses versus the cataract surgery. So it's actually, I got to get this on tape, we're more important than Dr. Hazel for the majority of your people. But I'll tell you what, she is so important to us, because if we do our work and refer and there's nobody to take care of the disease, then it was all for naught.
Dr. Rubel admitted that Dominicans' lifestyles have improved since his last visit.
So people are living longer. Well, if they're living longer, then they're having more issues with the diabetes and the eye and the hypertension. But between working together, it's working. One thing that's drastically changed in 25 years is the invention of gadgets. Cell phones and computers. The younger people are needing glasses more because of the gadgets. And so I think that's probably we're more busy with taking care of things for the computers and the cell phones.
3 Chinese nationals have been sentenced to 3 years imprisonment here and fined for theft of over $100,000 from NBD. According to the facts of the case, they arrived on island in July 2016, and on July 7th, the National Bank of Dominica noticed that large sums of money were withdrawn from 2 of its ATM machines in Roseau and became suspicious. Bank officials alerted the police after checking their surveillance cameras, prompting investigation into the matter. During a police operation on 8th July, 2 of the Chinese men were spotted at 2 NBD ATM locations and at the Royal Bank. Police confronted the men and found a large amount of cash, magnetic strips, and VIP cards upon searching their bags. A search warrant was executed on a room at the Fortune Hotel where the other Chinese national was met. 3 suitcases found in the room contained additional ATM skimmers and magnetic strip cards. 20,000 US was also found among EC, yen, Hong Kong, Bahamian, and Chinese currency, among others. The National Bank of Dominica lost EC $104,705 through the transactions conducted by the Chinese. In mitigating on behalf of her clients, attorney Bernadette Lambert told the court that the men regret their actions and were willing to apologize to the people of Dominica. In handing down sentence, High Court Judge Victoria Charles Clark said the men carefully planned the matter and it was serious and very sophisticated. They had no legitimate business in Dominica. They were caught red-handed, the judge stated. The maximum penalty for theft is 10 years in jail. However, Judge Clark took into consideration that the men had all pleaded guilty and, since all the money was recovered, sentenced them to 3 years each starting from July 2016. She ordered them deported after serving jail time. She also ordered compensation of EC $5,652.87 to the NBD to be paid in 6 months and, in default, 6 months jail. You are watching the Channel 5 News. More when we return. Welcome back. 2 of the 5 reserves from the Calypso eliminations are through to the quarter-finals round of the competition. The eliminations held on 7th January saw 13 Calypsonians being chosen to move to the quarterfinals round. This year, 13 were selected instead of the usual 12 to accommodate the opening created by the death of Michael Bouplé-Lafleur last year. Thus far, 2 of the 5 Calypsonians on reserve will be participating in the quarterfinals, as 2 of last year's semi-finalists won't be competing this year.
In the 14th place was Dick Clark, a guy who always sing on the port. He had a lovely song called Erica Boom Boom. So he went in place of Charis D, who works in St. Kitts now and not coming for the competition. Further, Della, who had another lovely song, comes in for Black Diamond, who is not singing this year. His sister is singing, but he's not. She also has a wonderful song she's singing this year.
The 3 still on reserve are Hakesy, Bio, and Judgment. The quarterfinals round will take place on 28th January. However, the venue is unknown. Meantime, the Dominica Calypso Association is extending sympathy to the family of the late Ezra Noach Dalrymple, a calypso writer and performer who passed away Wednesday morning at the Princess Margaret Hospital.
He was a great writer. He wrote for Observer and many other artists. He always writes for Piki, at least one of Piki's songs in the 2. And we lose some very, 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 very good people this year in the Calypso arena. And we feel for them.
Noach had written the song Red Rain for Davidson, the Observer Victor, who made it to the finals last year. Renovation of fire stations across the island, a goal of the fire and ambulance services this year. The word from Chief Fire Officer Josiah Dupy, who addressed the media on Wednesday.
We are looking at renovation work here at headquarters. We are looking at some renovation work which is ongoing at the Portsmouth Fire Station. We are looking at some proposed work to be done at the Grand Bay Fire Station. We are looking at additional equipment to be procured for use at the Melville Station, 1 fire truck.
An increased ambulance fleet is also expected.
We are looking at 6 ambulances we anticipate which should be delivered during the course of this year, and that will certainly have a tremendous impact on our capacity in providing ambulance coverage across the island. Many times we have calls that are pending. If we had multiple ambulances here at headquarters, we would have a different headache, but that headache would not be for an ambulance. We may have a headache for staffing. because you would have to assign a certain number of persons to each ambulance. So if you had one ambulance out with 2 officers and you had another call, 2 other officers had to go. Then comes another issue, staffing. But at present, I would concede that 1 ambulance is certainly not ideal for headquarters or Portsmouth or Melville Hall. And probably there's a case for Granby, because our data would show you how much calls we are getting in those areas.
Dupe says training, infrastructure and equipment are among his department's shortcomings.
It goes to the number of ambulances that we have on the road at any one time, our small tools that we use. The list is endless. One of the things I can certainly say, though, that notwithstanding our limitations, you are sitting at an institution and you are flanked by a few officers who, in spite of those limitations, I have seen over time an unwavering commitment to always do our very best. Again, notwithstanding the critics, because I must say too that oftentimes the critic is fair, and we need it, because that is what allows us sometimes in our review to make adjustments to some of the things that we do.
Unconditional passion for the job has won Fire Officer Alvin Jarvis the Officer of the Year for 2016 accolade. Jarvis has been an appointed fire officer for the past 10 years. Deputy Fire Chief Josiah Dupe described him as the most humorous and efficient fire officer based at the Roseau station. Jarvis has responded to 95% of fire calls, whether he is on duty or not.
This is something I cannot leave, or I feel I should not leave. Whether it's firefighting or the mechanic part of it, I just love it. Wherever it needs to be, like the chief fire officer said, if I'm at home and sometimes I hear the siren, I would call, I would respond with my private vehicle. It doesn't really affect me.
They described you as the funniest person in the station. Do you feel like you have the need to make people laugh here?
Yes.
Why?
Because we cannot operate under stress. I cannot assist you if I'm stressed out. So why should I let my colleague go outside the stressor?
Jarvis is originally from Benz. He was voted the best performing fire officer overall in all districts.
I wasn't expecting it, and I guess my work output and discipline brought me thus far. What motivated me, honestly, was the chief fire officer. We're from the same place, and his success, his discipline, his mannerism really motivated me.
Terry August was named Fire Officer of the Year for the Roseau District. Thora Robinson, Melville Hall, Ken Bully, St. Joseph, and Fernando Joseph, Portsmouth. In this last news item, Calypso fans are being warned to not expect a decrease in ticket price for the Calypso finals this year. Over the years, the Dominica Calypso Association has had to construct a stage and source a sound system for the hosting of the Calypso finals, and this extra cost has been reflected in the ticket price. This year, however, a stage and sound system will already be in place since the Portersville Savannah has been declared the official carnival city, and this is also the venue for this year's Calypso finals.
It's cheaper for us. It's cheaper. It's always more expensive in the stadium, and people don't know that. People think it's a very convenient thing. But it's still, even if we're doing a cultural event and we see the art form as a very cultural event, the biggest event for the carnival season, we still have to think of the business part of it, because unlike what people think, Calypso doesn't make the big money people keep thinking that Calypso does. If we don't have sponsors coming on board, it doesn't really work. We need those things to happen for it to be a viable project.
It costs the DCA approximately $20,000 to construct a stage and set up a sound system for the Calypso finals. Despite it being slightly cheaper to host the Calypso finals this time around, Salamat maintains this in no way means a reduction on ticket price for the patrons.
There's never a decrease in the price. I don't know what we have decided yet. I can't give you any figures on it, but there will definitely, I can tell you, there'll definitely not be a decrease in the price. It's not, we're not doing it because we go in there because we want to make a big money. We go in there, we're doing the best options first because it has always been a struggle. Because we will be tiding over better doesn't mean that we're going to pass it on to you. What we'll give you is a better venue, a better show, a better everything. And that's my job, to see that you get a good running show.
Salamat says there is a good working relationship between the Calypso Association and the Dominica Festivals Committee, which makes the hosting of the Calypso Finals at the Pottersville Savannah a reality.
We always work in coordination with DFC. We didn't last year because it's not anything to do with us, because of arrangement was different, because DFC is a government, I think, body sponsored by the government of Dominica. But this year we are working with them because we were so successful at the Pottersville Savannah last year. We have joined forces. And now what we are doing is working with them to have the show in Pottersville. Pottersville is a very good venue. We have a great relationship with the Pottersville committee, and everything is just working good.
That's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
We kick off with football, where Gully Dream Team and RC Doctors registered wins in Wednesday's matches of the DFA Division 1 League. In the Gully versus Digicel Newtown Juvenile Football Academy Harlem United encounter, Gully scored 4 against Newtown, who could only get 1 goal. RC Doctors played against Buster Warner to win the match 2-0, and Ray Charles Point Michelle and Club Loubier had to settle for equal points in a game ended 2-2. Meantime, Friday's games will feature Malta Carib Bath Estate against Andy Williams Sophia Spartans at Newtown at 6. And in the Flow Premier Division on Friday, defending champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Dublin Football Club will be looking to retain their championship title when they take on RIC Kensborough at Benjamin's Park from 6 p.m. Next up, West Indies under-19 squad to take part in the Nagico Super 50 has recently been announced, with 1 Dominican included. Local cricketer Alec Athanas joins the team in an effort to defend their title as World Cup champions. The 14-member squad includes 5 players from the team which won the ICC Under-19 World Cup in Bangladesh last year. The West Indies under-19s will be participating in the Nagico Super 50 as part of their preparation for the ICC Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand next year. Shamar Springer, Kimo Paul and Obed McCoy will not be eligible for that tournament, but have been selected as part of their continued development and monitoring. The West Indies under-19s will play in Zone A alongside defending champions Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, Windward Islands Volcanoes, Kent Spitfire and host team Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Their first match will be against Windward Islands Volcanoes at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua on January 25. Sports continues with netball, where Northeast Comprehensive, Portsmouth and Castlebrew Secondary registered wins in the Sports Division Secondary Schools Netball Championships on Wednesday. In the PSSA versus Goodwill Secondary Under-16 encounter, PSS dominated the game 57-6. CBSS defeated Portsmouth Secondary by 9 points with game scores 17-8 also in the under-16s. And Kayla Telemac had the hot hand for NECS, scoring 26 from 43 attempts to help bring her team to 37 against Isaiah Thomas Secondary's 11. Etheline Telemac added 9 and Janila Phillip 2. In a losing effort, Aikisha Peter added 9 and Grace Vidal 2 for ITSS. The league continues on Friday with 4 games. PSSB will come up against St. Martin Secondary at the Convent High School grounds from 3, followed by a match between PSSA and Convent High School at 4. Both games are in the under-16 group. Over at Marigot, we have Goodwill Secondary matched up against Northeast Comprehensive B from 3 in the under-16s, while at 4 it will be the under-20s of the same school. Back with more cricket, where an unbeaten century by Stephen Smith helped Australia beat Pakistan by 7 wickets in the third one-day international on Thursday. Pakistan took first knock and scored 263 for 7. Baba Azam scored 84 while Sharjeel Khan supported with 50. Set 264 for victory, Australia piled on 265 for 3. The Aussie skipper Stephen Smith scored an unbeaten century with 108. Peter Hanscom added 82. Australia led the series 2-1. Meantime, in the India versus England match, centuries from Yuvraj Singh and MS Dhoni helped India win by 15 runs in the second ODI on Thursday. India was sent into bat and scored 381 for 6. Yuvraj Singh made 150, including 21 fours, with another century from MS Dhoni, 134. Set 382 to win, England crumbled underneath a superior Indian bowling attack and scored 365 for 8 in 49.4 overs. E. Morgan scored the highest for England with 102. Jason Roy chipped in with 82 and Moeen Ali 55. India led the series 2-0. And in results from the Sports Division Primary School's Table Tennis Festival on Wednesday, in the male group of the West District, we have Salisbury in first place and Mahu second. However, in the female category, Massac came first, followed by Salisbury. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
To end the news, the headlines again. A Meet the People campaign introduced by the Prime Minister. A $250,000 road project for Salisbury planned for next week. And Chinese men sentenced to prison for ATM theft. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.